back, baby. Another episode, Stats Over Politics. 2 days later, coming to you on a Wednesday today as we bring you a bonus episode of Stats Over Politics this week, episode number 39. I'm Shaun Holko alongside my guys, Kevin Dent, Jaevon, Toddy. Garry sings at work tonight, but fellas, we are joined by a very special guest. Toddy, could you introduce our special guest for me?
Hey, man, we got the man, the myth, the legend from your favorite local radio show, D-Lo and KC. We have Mr. I Am K Diddy, Mr. Iced Out Swag K Diddy. We got Kenny Caraway here in the building.
I appreciate y'all having me on here, man. Pleasure's all mine, man, always.
Oh, we appreciate you bringing us, or being in the space because you OG out here, and we trying to get to where you at.
Hold on, man. Hold on.
Why'd you do that to him, buddy?
Me and the other homies who was talking about, like, yeah, man, they out here calling me OG nowadays. Like, yeah, I don't know if we OG yet. And her enough, 24 hours later, yeah, man, you the OG out here, man. But no, good. I'm getting up there, man. I turned 40 in a couple days, man, so it's all good.
You're supposed to be getting married too, right?
I am getting married, man. It's September, man.
Congratulations.
There's another married man here in the chat.
September what? What's the big date?
September 23rd.
Mine's the 3rd, 20 days apart.
Okay. That's what's up. Congratulations to you too, man.
Thank you, man.
Before we get started, there's somebody I got beef with. I don't know exactly who it is.
It's probably
I think it's Shaun.
Shaun,
Shaun, you like Ohio State, don't you?
Okay.
Ohio
State slander.
It's both of us.
You too?
Oh yeah.
So, Kenny,
Come
let
on,
me clarify you
for
you real quick because your beef might be selective depending on how you feel about the football team. Because I'm an Ohio State fan of everything Ohio State. My grandpa went there, grew up watching them, and so I support all the Ohio State teams. My guy Kevin, he is also a supporter of Ohio State, but only the football team. He chooses other schools for other sports, but he rocks with Ohio State football. So you got beef with both of us or what?
I mean, Kevin, that sounds like something an Ohio State fan would do. You know what I'm saying? Just cheating and picking and choosing the team. You know what I'm saying? Shaun, Kev. I don't know what to do with y'all, man. It's go blue over here all day. You already know what it is. We tried in time. We smacking up Ohio State
3 years in a row this year.
Ain't nothing going to change this year when you come to the big house. Just is what it is.
It's funny how Toddy's talking, but a year from now, he's gonna be at the bottom of the Big Ten talking about we shouldn't have done this.
I'm an SC fan, but I like Michigan though.
You know what? It's crazy. I used to not like SC for a long time, but I'm cool with SC now, man.
Yeah,
I'm cool with it. I like SC.
We kind of went and we disappeared for like 10 years and then came back all of a sudden. Once we
got it's about to get crazy for SC.
Still disappeared. It really didn't do much.
Okay. All right.
It's about to get crazy. The NIL stuff is SC about to. I ain't gonna say they're gonna run college sports, but there's a lot of money in LA. I'll put it to you that way. So
we're going to the big.
They want.
We're going to the Big Ten, and we're basically Lincoln Riley is a quarterback whisperer. So we always know how to quarterback online. It's just we're always gonna have. We just need our defense to get where it needs to be, and going to the Big Ten is gonna be great for us because everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, y'all play against all these other teams: Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. Y'all in the Big Ten now." And now all of a sudden we're gonna start getting that defense. That lead line's gonna start getting beefier. DB's gonna be back there. We already got the offense on lock. The offense is already on lock. I'm gonna tell y'all that right now.
Man, see, I guess I am the OG in here, man. I'm old school, man. It still hurts that SC and UCLA leaving the Pac-12 and going to the
Pac-10.
Utah's running and USC out.
Yeah, I'm just sick about that. I love my West Coast college sports.
Yeah, everything's got to change now.
That ruins everything. That ruins everything. So I can't believe they let that happen. I can't believe they're actually doing it. And everybody talks about how great it is going to the Big Ten for SC and UCLA. That's dope. It is. You know, we love to see SC, Ohio State, SC, Michigan, Penn State, all this other stuff. But what about SC, Iowa? Nobody wants to see that. UCLA, Purdue. Who wants to see that? All right, they could have been even when like it's UCLA, Arizona State. It's still like local, like there's still some kind of ties, but it's gonna be ridiculous when we see like UCLA, Nebraska, trash.
Yeah, it's crazy because most conferences now they're just joining as super conferences. Like Texas, Oklahoma's supposed to be going to the SEC now. UCLA and obviously USC are going to the Big Ten. So it's kind of like, what about these other conferences like the Big 12 and the Pac-12? What is it going to look like now? Are the other teams going to go there now, or is it Are we going to see independent teams like Notre Dame kind of travel to a conference finally? So there's a bunch going on.
The ACC,
yeah, like
10, SEC.
They might end up joining the conference.
Yeah, they're gonna just create their own league essentially.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's where it's headed. Like maybe in the next 5 to 7 years or something like that, they'll just create their own super league.
So the playoffs are already expanding now. They're going to 12 teams, I think, next year.
Right.
Let's get cracking.
So I got one question since we're talking college football real quickly, and Casey, we're about to get to Kevin's segment that's recurring every week, which is Factor Cap, where we just ask we have a general statement, tell us Factor Cap, but already a legendary Factor Cap that we had from this past Monday was based on an adamant take from my guy Jaevon.
Oh yeah,
the USC fan on this podcast.
Right, no question.
So Factor Cap, Kenny. Caleb Williams would be a top 15 quarterback in the NFL right now.
Absolutely. Kevin, let's give him the handy dandy list real quick.
All right, I got it right here. All right, let me start top to bottom or bottom to top, Toddy. What you want me to do?
Want to do it?
Go from the bottom because I'll tell you if Caleb is better than these people.
All right, perfect. So at 15, we got Daniel Jones.
Yeah, he's better than Daniel Jones.
Okay, 14, we got Geno Smith.
That's kind of tough, but for the sake of argument, I'll get off the fence. I'll say he's better than Geno.
Jared Goff.
He's better than Jared Goff. Jared Goff had a good year though. Just
he
like
a good year. Yeah.
So I guess we could, but no, let me run that back because currently, like, I'm gonna just go by like not their history, but where they're at today.
Yeah.
Geno and Jared Goff are better than Caleb Williams. Historically, nah, Geno's not better, but I mean, Geno was balling out last year. So was Jared Goff. So I'll flip that and say no to both of them.
All right, so I heard you were a Niner fan, so this is going to be interesting. Brock Purdy.
I mean, they're close enough, and look, that's tough because if you ask me just like who's the more talented guy, I'll look at Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance is more talented than Brock. But yes. Brock got it. Brock has got it. Like he knows what to do, when to do it, where to throw, how to throw. He ain't got no rocket, but he got enough. Brock, I'm
got some swag to him too.
Yeah, I'm sold on Brock. Brock is that dude, and I love Trey. That hurts me because I want Trey to be the future. I want Trey to be that dude, but Brock got it. Brock is the real deal. He's for real.
Man. So you taking Brock over Caleb?
I'll take Brock over Caleb.
That's all right. Now it gets interesting. Kirk Cousins.
Nothing but an empty stats guy.
That's what I'm saying, because Kirk, he put numbers up. That's the thing. Every year you look at the numbers, he got like 5,000 yards.
See, I'm going to tell you why this is tough, though, man, because we didn't see all these guys do it in the NFL, man. And Caleb has done it in college, and I think he's more talented than these guys. But, there's guys all the time that I think are more talented, than certain NFL guys, and then they get into the NFL and they pedestrian. So, like, I think Caleb, everybody that you just mentioned, I think Caleb is more talented than any of just by the eye test. But when we really get there, he might be Jamarcus Russell. I don't know.
Don't tell Toddy that.
I think he's better than all. I think Caleb is the real deal. I think he's gonna win the Heisman again. I think he's the truth. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like Kyler Murray was the toast of the league 24 months ago, and he just had one of the worst seasons in the league last year. So, that's true. You never know how these things go.
That's true. Situation.
Kenny, I completely agree with you as well that I do think that Caleb's going to be the real deal, like legit. But the reason why I said cap and why I wouldn't even give any of those 15 quarterbacks that Kevin mentioned on Monday was just because, like you said, we haven't seen him do it in the NFL. It's all assumptions at this point. And so to say he's top 15, that's a stretch for me. If you want to say top 25, top 20, that's more reasonable to me. But just since we haven't seen it in the NFL, that's why I'm just not ready to go that far. But Toddy loves him some Caleb Williams, and our guy Wes said in the YouTube comments, this is the same dude that lost to Utah.
He wrote it on his fingernails.
And then Tulane.
He was right on his fingernails. So
Utah did smack him up 2 times, man. I think Caleb is He a dope QB. I ain't got nothing bad to say about Caleb. It's just two different levels. That's all. I think he's gonna be dope.
Without a doubt. All right, Kevin. So now it's time. Let's get to it.
About that time. All right. So can we let Toddy get his USC stuff off? So I know he's gonna have something to say about this. So Kenny, I'm gonna go to you first. Factor cap. Jason Tatum is a top 5 player in the NBA today.
That's cap.
Oh!
I love Tatum. I love Tatum.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we got 3 centers already. And is Tatum better than Steph? No, that's 4.
Absolutely not.
And I didn't even mention, did I? Oh, yeah, Giannis is part of the 3. So Giannis is there. And then who we got after that? I'm trying to go down my mental Rolodex right now. It's close, though. I don't think he's top 5, but it's close.
So who's that
I feel
fifth
like I'm
spot?
forgetting somebody big.
Luka?
I like Tatum more than Luka. I'm not a big Luka fan. I think Luka's super talented, but
You see more hard.
I mean, is Tatum better than Dame right now?
Yes.
He is. Dame had the best career of his season. Season of his career.
That's true. He did average 30. They losing season. But you could add.
I'd probably take Jason Tatum over Dame.
Tatum's that dude, man. I like Tatum. I like Tatum a lot. Yo, I don't know if you guys ever listen, but I hate the Celtics. And I like Tatum so much. I told them I'm like this close to getting a Tatum jersey. Just because I like Tatum. That's my guy. That's my guy, Jason Tatum.
He's got a lot of guys, though.
I do have a lot of guys. Jason Tatum, my guy, though. That's my guy.
Yeah.
So
Kevin is a
He might be
Dookie,
top
so you
5.
could get a Duke jersey.
Oh yeah. So he's saying this is factor cap. He is top 5 or he's not top 5. You only named 4 guys.
I only named 4 guys. I'm trying to see here. Y'all got me on the spot. I like this right here. Is he better than Donovan Mitchell?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Y'all said that kind of quick. I don't know about that. Man. I need to settle down.
It's probably
I'll say fact. That's cool. I'm cool with that.
Okay, Shaun, I'm gonna go to you next. Factor cap. Is Jason Tatum a top 5 player in the NBA?
Oh, this is cap. This is major cap. So just thinking of the names. I mean, Kenny mentioned like the 3 big names like Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, but then Steph. I'm still taking Steph, and Kevin's favorite player. I'm still taking LeBron. That's 5 right there. I'll give him top 10, but I'm not gonna put him in the top 5. So it's capped to me.
All right, Toddy. We all know what you're gonna say, but I gotta ask you for the game. Factor cap, Toddy. Is Jason Tatum a top 5 player in the NBA?
No, this is just too easy. I mean, I believe Jason Tatum is like the only Celtic that ever averaged 30 in Celtics history. That's counting Larry Bird. That's the truth. That's Robert Parrish. That's all of those great Celtics. That's names is in the Raptors right now in the TD Garden. So we can just go off the list. Who's our top 5? The Jokic, I think, is number 1 right now. We saw him just put up insane numbers the entire postseason, let alone the finals. So arguably, if in hindsight, is he really the MVP? It's a regular season award, so you probably still might have to lean Embiid for that. But a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's really Jokic's award." By default, Joel Embiid has to be in it because he's the MVP. I think just the way that he played this past year, he was kind of it kind of looked like he was a man on a mission. Just hearing all the talks about Jokic being, he's already a de facto 3-time MVP back-to-back. It was going to be him. He was hearing Giannis. So he's always been in that conversation. So for him to kind of come out and prove it to everybody, I thought he was the MVP during the regular season. So I would have to give it to Embiid as the second best player. I'd say Jason Tatum is 3rd. Now I know that you guys think that Giannis, Giannis was doing this, they got bounced in the first round. Let's not forget that didn't happen. He was hurt, blah, blah, blah. When he came back, he had like 30 and 20 or 30 and 15 the game that he came back. So I get it. Injuries are a part of the game. We've been through this already. Giannis is probably outside probably fifth, probably. I would say. But I think Jason Tatum is third. Let him just going back, almost making the finals this year. It took him to 7 games against Miami. Miami has always been a team that I'm a Celtics fan. We have always had to deal with just kind of having to figure out in the playoffs because we know we're going to have to play Miami in the playoffs. We played them in the bubble. We played them last year, had to get to the finals. We had to play them again. And it took us 7 games, and they got up 3-0 on us, which I thought helped or hindered more than helped us because we had to go 7 games. We had those first 2 games that we ended up losing at home definitely hurt us in the long run. So I'm going to go with Jason Tatum. Now, Tatum is he has the most points in a game 7 history. I don't know if people know that. It was Stephen Curry. Earlier, Stephen Curry set that against the Warriors in the game 7 where he had, 50? He had a 50 piece, right? Was it just 50 even? Yes. And then JT came back, did his thing, and he was like, you know what, Steph, I'm going to one-up you. So I'm going to have to give it to JT. Fourth, I'll probably have to say Steph. I'll probably have to say Steph because I did say Steph Curry again on this podcast earlier. Probably it was earlier in the season when I think it was after when the Kings beat them. I was like, Steph's probably the best player in the world right now. And I think that was fresh off of that 50-point game. So it was like, Steph's pretty good. I think he's got to be in that top 5. Fifth, you could kind of go with a couple of guys. You could argue LeBron. I don't think LeBron's top 5 right now. Fifth right now. Wow, that's crazy.
He really is just dismissing Giannis, huh?
Yeah, like I'd say he's like 6th or 7th right now.
Real.
I'm gonna say 6 or 7 right now. I don't think
who
he's
the hell is
top
5. It ain't Bron.
I don't know, man. It's tough. I'm gonna say D Book. I think D Book had a historical playoff run. The numbers that he was putting up with KD because they had to score 80 points between the two, or else they weren't gonna lose, or else they weren't gonna win. I think Shaun knows, just going back to all the way, probably like 2017, 2018, how high I've been on Devin Booker. Just him coming out of high school, him being 17 years old coming to the league. He was putting up the same numbers as Carmelo, LeBron, and I believe Kobe Bryant at that age of 18 when they first get into the league. So just for him to kind of just grow and mold over the years, I think he's like year 6 or 7 now, and he's like only 25. So he's been in the league. He's damn near a vet, and he's only like 25 years old. I think it's only up for Devin Booker now. I think he's a top 5 player in this league.
Yeah, Kenny, we like to keep things very consistent here on Stats Over Politics, and we keep a notepad. This is just the one sheet. I tore it off because we filled it all up. But we keep a notepad just for the record, and I'm really glad that Toddy recalled one of his old takes from just about 2 months ago because I was going to bring it up. I'm glad that even though you said Steph was 4th on May 1st.
Said he was the best player, yeah.
Yeah, May 1st, 2023, episode 27, we asked who is the best player in the NBA. So Garry and we both said Giannis. Kevin said LeBron because he's a LeBronologist. And Jaevon said Stephen Curry. So I'm glad that you still had Steph in your top 5, but it's crazy that he dropped all the way down to 4.
This is fresh off the 50-point history, off the Kings series. We just seen it. So, everybody's quick, things change over time.
Toddy's the recency bias king.
All right,
so this is my turn. Factor cap, I'm going to say this is cap, 100%. When you think of the top 5 guys, we all think about the 3 big men. So that's Giannis, Joker, Joel Embiid. Then it gets interesting. But to me, I don't think it's interesting at all. You can't not put Steph Curry at 4. What he's done, and he just coming off of that Finals MVP, he finally got his, and this bad year, and losing to the Lakers, they had their issues with the team, and the offseason with Jordan Poole and that Draymond Green issue. So I think we can't write him off. But y'all be damn crazy if number 5 ain't LeBron James. Damn crazy. 29 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Year 20. He has to be top 5. I know everyone wants to say, oh, he's been doing this forever, blah, blah, blah. There's young guys coming up. LeBron James is the example of consistency. And until he can't do this no more, he's going to be top 5 in my book.
He's always going to be top 5 in Kevin's book. He's a LeBronologist. I don't know if you caught that word. The other guy, Garry, is also another LeBronologist. They worship LeBron on the show, so that's the name that we give him.
And Kevin, before we move on to the next one, I just wanted to reference one YouTube comment. My guy Trey says Booker over Giannis is a take. For sure.
Yeah, man,
I love
Booker
Devin
ain't
Booker.
Could be.
I'm gonna love it.
Could be.
Man, top 5. All right.
I like D-Book, though. I like D-Book. I don't like him over Giannis, but I like D-Book.
That's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
So Kenny, I'm gonna let you know I am a Philadelphia Eagles fan through and through.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Next question. Y'all done, okay, yeah, y'all done got on my bad side again.
I'm gonna show it to you first,
All right.
because the guys to my right, they don't let they talk through the bias. You know, Shaun's better than Toddy, but Toddy is delusional. So, the next question and factor cap, Kenny, is Devontae Smith the best number 2 receiver in the NFL?
Best number 2 receiver, man. Y'all got some good factor cap questions, man. Devontae Smith, he's a bad man. He's a bad boy. I ain't got nothing bad to say about him. I'm gonna go right to the 49ers off the top of my head. And is he better than, I mean, take your pick. Some people say Brandon Ayuk is number 1, so that would make Debo number 2. Some say it's vice versa. So is Devontae better? I'll ask you guys. Is he better than either one or both of them?
He's not better than Debo. You could argue he's better than Ayuk. I think Ayuk is a better route runner than Devontae Smith. That's something that's our group chats are legendary. We always reference the group chats, and there be some stuff going down in the group chats.
Screen corner said he's top 5, and now it's all over the place.
I don't think Brandon Ayuk is per se better than Devontae Smith. I think he's a better route runner. As far as an entire receiver, Devontae Smith is a better receiver right now than Brandon Ayuk.
Shaun, I'll let you go next.
All right. So I'm definitely going to say that this is cap as well. And Kenny, because I knew that Kevin would reference how the 3 of us are all 49ers fans. And right now we got Kevin outnumbered right now. So Kenny, please don't leave like Debo did with the Eagles interview. But
man,
we usually squared up where Garry is a Steelers fan. So at least they got 2 versus 2 on me and Toddy, because Toddy and I do go crazy sometimes. And so just leaving Brandon Ayuk aside, because Kevin and I, we have a bet about Brandon Ayuk in this upcoming season.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to that in a moment. But just focusing on this question, I say it's cap because just off the top of my head, like, okay, I like Brandon Ayuk better, but if I put bias aside, still taking T. Higgins over him, still taking Tyler Lockett over him, I'm still taking Chris Godwin over him.
Waddle.
And so Jalen Waddle, exactly. Waddle's out there, and so this is cap. There's no way that he's the best number 2 wide receiver in the NFL.
Hey, come on, Kev. Go ahead, defend your boy.
No,
defend your boy, man.
I'm gonna save it for the last, man. I'm coming to you next, Toddy. Is Devontae Smith the best number 2 receiver in the league?
Hey, man. I think he's up there. I'm going to say cap for right now. I don't think he's better than Jalen Waddle. I think Jalen Waddle is arguably a number 1 wide receiver in this league. I think T. Higgins is definitely up there as far as number 2 guys. But I'm just trying to think. There's not really too many number 2s better than him, though. That's the thing. Like, I would have to, like, there's no, like, if you were to put him on the Cowboys, he could arguably be a number 1, number 2 receiver. You put him on Commanders, he could kind of be in that mix for the number 1, number 2 guy. There's a bunch of teams that he could be a number 1 on. It's just that, you know, you got the swole Batman on the other side. So it's tough when you have a guy like A.J. Brown over there taking up all the targets. But we don't know if this helps him to a degree, because A.J. Brown could be receiving those double coverages, and that might be freeing up some space for Devontae Smith to be, you know, getting one-on-one coverage. And we know he's a former Heisman Trophy winner. So I don't really see too many better than him, like Shaun was saying. I'm going to say there's probably maybe 1 or 2 guys better than him at the number 2 position. He's still very young, too. So for the sake of this segment, I'm going to say cap.
Real quick, you guys know who I thought about? I don't know if he's better than Devontae. You know, so I'm not making that claim, but Tyler Lockett in Seattle.
Lockett? I think he's better than Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, he's way better than Lockett.
Tyler Lockett. Maybe I just
Tyler Lockett, he's consistent.
But Tyler Lockett is a problem. As a 2.
I would know because he gives us some problems every single time we play him.
He's the problem. Devontae, he's the real deal, man. I got nothing but love for him, man. He a real deal.
Tyler Lockett is the slot god.
All right. So everyone's wanting to know what I think about this question. Is Devontae Smith the best number 2 in the NFL?
He's gotta give us
hell yes. And you want me to tell you why? Because let me list off these number 2s. T. Higgins, Mike Williams, Jalen Waddle, Tyler Lockett, Brandon Ayuk, Chris Godwin. What were any of them without their other number 1, the wide receiver 1?
Brandon Ayuk was doing work. What you talking about?
Yeah.
Work.
What I'm saying.
That's why people saying right now that he might be number 1.
Saying that right now because he had a good season and a couple good catches and now it's Brandon Ayuk. But let me give you some stats.
He was killing in the second half of the year before. Ayuk was a problem.
Devontae Smith, when he was the number 1 receiver, 918 yards as the number 1.
Okay.
If you have T. Higgins as the number 1, is he got to get 1,000? He cracked 29 yards, you guys, over 1,000 yards. Mike Williams, is he anything without Keenan Williams? Jalen Waddle, is he going to be anything without Tyreek Hill? We've never seen them apart. Same with Brandon Ayuk. We've never seen him not on the Niners. So the only other thing you can really go to bat for is Chris Godwin. So the best number 2 has to have some number 1 success. And Devontae Smith is the only one on this list who has the number 1 success. So because of that, he has to be the best number 2 wide receiver in the league.
I'll push back with Brandon Ayuk a little bit too. In his rookie year, it had me thinking some good stuff. It had me thinking I had to pull up his numbers before I talk. But in 12 games, he had 748 yards. Debo was hurt that entire season with the hamstring.
Rookie year. He's going based off of Devontae Smith's rookie
But
year.
I mean, is he number 1 with Kittle?
Well, I don't know if he gets more targets than Kittle.
The crazy part is we don't use Kittle as much as a receiver. We use him more.
That's what I'm saying.
But all the attention is on Kittle. When there's no other attention on, if it's just Ayuk out there, do you guys think he'd be what he is if it was just Ayuk and you don't have a Kittle and you don't have a Debo?
Absolutely.
Well, sure, because I mean, you still have some type of tight end. It's not like you play without a tight end. There'd be some type of almost every tight end in the league right now is some type of pass catching tight end. So if they're not as good as
not Jason Kittle.
Sure. No, they're not. But I mean, all right, they might look at him as much of a problem just because he's the one always open, whoever that tight end would be. So you try to double Brandon Ayuk, that just hit that tight end X over and over again to the point that you got to make an adjustment. So I think there's a lot of guys that you guys mentioned, but I think Ayuk, if you consider him the 2, I think he might be the closest one. And Waddle, Ayuk and Waddle are in there with Devontae Smith.
Waddle could be a number 1 in my opinion.
Waddle the truth. Waddle the truth.
Can he please forgive Kevin because he's still suffering from PTSD from this moment that happened during IU.
Oh, so you want to talk about PTSD?
He was like the whole season after that happened.
Oh, that's good.
You know what, Shaun? I thought some pictures were gonna come up, so I wanted to look at this 31-7. Do you want me to show you the picture? I mean, I know you guys are still kind of traumatized. I know Brock still wakes up with nightmares. We can talk about it if you want.
It was a win for the Eagles. You know what I'm saying?
It was a massacre.
It's a good win. I mean, it was okay. It was a massacre. We didn't have no quarterback. It ain't like it was a massacre when we had a quarterback in there. We didn't have no quarterback.
Made 3 drives of punts. He played. It's not like he got hurt in the first snap.
Yeah,
Kevin, it wasn't it 7-7 in the second quarter.
Yeah, it was 7-7 with like 5 minutes to go in the second quarter.
I'm saying it's not like he was doing much before.
Oh, well, Kevin, he only played 3 plays.
Josh Johnson. You talk about Josh Johnson.
Kevin, it's not our fault.
McCaffrey was there.
The third string tight end trying to guard the best edge rusher in the league.
Hey, look, the Eagles might have won that game regardless. But the fact remains, we ain't have a quarterback. Like, I don't know how. Like, if you guys were up 28-0 at the half, and Josh Johnson got hurt in the last play of the first half, all right, yeah, y'all was gonna smack us anyway. It was a 1%. It was a 1-score game.
We ain't gonna talk about
Fourth down.
drop the ball on fourth down. We ain't gonna talk about that.
Oh yeah, when the best number 2 wide receiver in the NFL dropped that ball on the left sideline, and then they reviewed it and they let it go. But the crew who was broadcasting the game, they reviewed it and they were like, "Oh, look, he actually dropped it."
The game is 7-7 after McCaffrey scores the touchdown. We're about to make y'all have another 3 and out. Y'all got a little gift PI.
Oh,
You got a little gift PI. Jimmy Brown, that was a gift PI. That would have had y'all punting. So
we talking about
the Eagles a good thing. They might have won that anyway, but come on. If we had a quarterback, if we had a quarterback, mind you, we were down to the 4th quarterback at that point.
we was already down to our 3rd.
The Eagles couldn't win a game with their 2nd quarterback. They went winless without Jalen. They couldn't win a game with their 2nd quarterback. We had their 4th.
Last thing I'm gonna say, and we can move on, is the week of all I heard was Bosa this. All we heard about Bosa was he scraped his knee. Only time he was hurt. The only time I heard Bosa was when he got cleated in the knee.
Well, the last thing that I'll say about that as well is, yeah, Kevin, the Eagles won 31-7, and they went on to lose the Super Bowl, so it was all for nothing. And secondly, the 49ers were at such a disadvantage in that game that the NFL literally changed the rule book and allowed for you to have an extra quarterback on the roster. If you only have 2 on the roster, now you can have that 3rd quarterback just in case if injuries were to happen and you're allowed to have them suit up.
You had a 3rd quarterback. If Kyle Shanahan still puts the 3rd string tight end on Hassan Reddick, it happened twice. Why wasn't it going to happen again? Then what? You want there to be a rule about a 4th quarterback and a 5th quarterback?
That's football. It happens from time to time. That hit happens all the time, and then people don't get hurt. You know what I'm saying? It just so happened that he got hurt right there. I'll tell you this right now, though, Kev. I'll say this right now. We can put this on wax. Write this down, Shaun. We write things
down. Write it down, Shaun. Go on the notebook.
Niners definitely having a better record than the Eagles this year. You can book it.
Hey.
You can book it. Niners definitely having a better record. Hey, ain't no soft schedule this year for Philly. Y'all can't eat on no under 500 all year this year. Y'all can't eat on no under 5 here. Under 5. Did y'all ever play anybody over 500 this year?
Hell no.
The Cowboys, is that
we
it?
played the Giants.
Uh-huh.
They were 500. The
They
Cowboys
were trash. Hey, the Giants were trash. I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't care what that record says.
Packers.
And they lost both coordinators too, Kim.
I don't know when we played the Bears, they were over 500, but we played a couple, man. I'm just saying, just because we good, you want to say number 1 week schedule, all this.
That was a week schedule.
Doesn't matter, man. The game's won in the trenches, like Shaun likes to say with Bosa. And now that y'all got Hargrave, you think you got the Eagles blueprint. You think you're gonna just keep on going. I remember when Hargrave wasn't doing shit.
All I know is, and I hope I love the dude, so I hope nothing bad happens. So I'm gonna knock on wood right now. Don't let nothing happen to Jalen. We see what y'all look like without Jalen. We see what y'all look like without Jalen. Non-existent. If he down for any period of time, that's a loss.
Okay.
Kenny, before we move on from this topic completely, I did want to ask one more question because I alluded to earlier the fact that Kevin and I have a bet about Brandon Ayuk coming up about this season. And the bet is this. We bet a Benjamin on the fact that I said Brandon Ayuk will have over 1,000 receiving yards this year. Who do you think wins that bet?
You can look at that.
You said he's having over 1,000?
Mm-hmm. Kevin said no.
I think you win that one.
Yeah,
so let's not act like he wasn't 22 yards from 999 yards. It was that's 2 missed tackles, fellas. That's 2 missed tackles for 1K.
And Purdy didn't even play the whole year last year.
Well, that's the other thing. They had Jimmy who wouldn't even throw the ball to his receivers. He was only looking for Kittle. So yeah, he ain't got to deal with that as much this year. Ayuk having over 1,000. Debo, I don't know. I ain't gonna say Debo having 1,000, but Debo gonna have
maybe on purpose.
Yeah, Debo gonna have a monster season. Niners gonna have a 1 seed this year.
Ooh, we ain't playing I'll add that to the notepad.
Go ahead, add that. Niners gonna have the 1 seed. Will that result in the Super Bowl or anything? I don't know. I'm just telling you, they're gonna have the best record in NFC at the end of the season.
I'm just looking around and looking like, who else is there? Cowboys.
There's only 3 teams, really. There's only 3 teams. It's the Niners, Eagles, and I'd still go to Cowboys in there. I got respect for the team.
Throw the Saints in there too. I think the Saints.
Oh boy.
I mean, Derek Carr.
That division. I'm just going to Derek Carr in their division.
Y'all like the Lions?
I like the Lions. I like the Lions.
I do like the Lions.
I'm
A lot more people are up on them now. I gamble, so I was very high on the Lions going into the end of last year. Now everybody's talking about the Lions like, oh, Jared Goff, he had a great year last year. I'm like, shh, don't tell everybody. So, now everyone's high on the Lions.
I still think it's 3 teams, man. It's the Niners, Eagles, and like I said, I'll throw the Cowboys in there. Saints are cool. I love the Saints defense. We'll see if we see if David Carr give him anything. And if he does, it'll be a problem. But right now, until I see what they can do in New Orleans, I'm gonna stick with those 3 teams.
So, Kenny, I got to ask, before we move on, you got to come back on the show once this all comes to light that the Niners were just the whiners and they were not the number 1 seed. You're going to have to come back on the show.
I'm coming back on the show.
All right, so I'm saying. You're going to come back on that line.
Make sure you have me on the week of our first round bye. You know what I'm saying? Have me on that week.
Yeah, when we watch it, everybody, who we going to play that?
have me on that week.
Eagles, we were kicking our feet up. The real football don't start till the wild card, man. I know y'all have, or the divisional. I know y'all having fun in the wild card. Early games on Sunday. I mean, I know it's cool, man.
Saturday.
Sorry, yeah, my bad. Saturday, yeah.
That's where y'all go.
NFL Saturdays, yeah. It's just that.
All right, y'all. Well, now it's time for our other recurring segment, which is my segment every week, and it is called Shaun's Pop Quiz, Kenny. And just a quick background on it. I thought of it because I wanted to educate my friends on the sports that they don't watch. I know you're tapped in on the MLB. I know you're tapped in on the WNBA, but neither of my guys, including Garry, watch. So I think you'll do great on this quiz, Kenny. We'll see how these guys do. But hey, they nailed. I had an MLB pop quiz on Monday. They nailed every single question. To be fair, I was just asking for names of the most popular players in baseball, like Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Mike Trout. But I will give them their credit that they all nailed their questions. So
all right,
it's Shaun's Pop Quiz. And this week, guys, or today, since this is a bonus episode, we got WNBA edition as the All-Star game is coming up this weekend on Saturday. It's going to be on ABC. So Jaevon, I hope you check it out on TV. My guy Kevin's going to be in Vegas. He might actually check it out in person.
You need to hit that up. Kev.
All right. So our leaderboard on Shaun's Pop Quiz after 38 episodes has Kevin lonely at the top. He's been there for a long time and he's gotten very lonely with 23 points. Toddy got 18 and our guy Garry has 14, but Garry will tell you that he had several DNPs due to missing podcast work. So that's just how it goes. So we're going to give the first question to Kevin. And Kevin, this is your question. This All-Star went to high school in Stockton. So I'll read the question one more time for our audio-only listeners, as this is Shaun's Pop Quiz WNBA edition. We've got the All-Star game coming up on Saturday. And Kevin's question is, this All-Star went to high school in Stockton, California, 209. Kevin, do you have any type of guesses?
Is she recent or is this something that was
Come
old?
on, Kev.
No, current All-Stars. All of these questions are based on the current All-Stars that will play on Saturday.
Come on,
Kenny,
Kev.
I know.
Todd, do you know this?
Hell no, I don't know.
I ain't got no idea. Even if you said it was someone a long time ago, I was still not gonna have a guess. So I don't even know why I asked. I couldn't even use educated guess, brother.
Go ahead, Kenny.
You give up.
But hold on, I think we should do something special. I think all Kenny's points should go to Garry.
Toddy, what do you think?
Toddy's like, hell no, I'm only up one. That's the only reason I said.
Black hole. Black hole.
Toddy, should we let Kenny answer for Garry?
Yeah, you can answer for Garry, but he's not getting points.
Okay. All right. I needed it to be unanimous to make it happen. Sorry, Garry. You can blame Toddy. So Toddy and Kevin, they both don't have an answer for this question. The question being, this WNBA All-Star went to high school in Stockton. Kenny, tell them who this is.
St. Mary's legend, WNBA legend, world champion Chelsea Gray.
Oh,
yeah.
Chelsea Gray.
Chelsea Gray went to St. Mary's.
Maybe the best point guard in the league right now. She's the truth.
I knew that.
She's the truth.
Kevin, I was about to tell you that she plays for the Aces, but I felt like that would have gave it away. I know the Aces have like 4 All-Stars, but I still think that probably would have gave it away. All right, so Kenny gets the question right, but due to Toddy hating, Garry doesn't get the point. So
Player hate his ball. Call me Bud Nasty.
I mean, this be 3 points for Garry.
Be free, buddy.
I tried, Garry. I tried, big dog.
Garry's going to be listening back to this, doing his audio timestamps, and he's going to be pretty upset with Toddy. But, it is what it is. He had to work. So now, Toddy, on to your question. And Kenny, just so you know, when I give an individual question to one person, I let them answer it. But if someone wants to steal, just put a finger up. I'll go to you first for the steal if whoever's question it is can't get it. So, Toddy, this is your question.
Take a break.
All right, Toddy. So this is your question. This WNBA All-Star is leading the league in scoring. So I'll read the question one more time to give you a second to think. Is Breanna Stewart your final answer?
Breanna Stewart.
That is incorrect. So I'll read the question one more time in case Kevin, I see you.
He's doing process of elimination.
That's what I'm saying. Man.
Kevin, I guarantee you are going to get it wrong because I know exactly who you're thinking of. But this WNBA All-Star is leading the league in scoring. Okay. Who do you think it is, Kevin?
All right, well, damn, since we all know who Kevin only knows one, I'm going to go with Sabrina. I don't even know how to like
say her name.
Ionescu.
Yeah, Sabrina
Ionescu. That is also incorrect. Just out of curiosity, Kevin, were you going to guess Asia Wilson?
Yes. I knew it. The only person I know.
All right, so we guessed the 2 captains of the WNBA All-Star game. We also guessed Sabrina Ionescu. That is incorrect. Kenny, before I give away any hints, do you know who this is?
I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to take a guess here and say DeWanna Bonner.
That is incorrect, but that's a pretty good guess. All right, Toddy, you want to go again? Go ahead.
Is it Brittany Griner?
No, that is incorrect.
Absolutely not.
So, Toddy answered Breanna Stewart, who just recently changed teams from Seattle to New York. And when Breanna Stewart left, Sue Bird retired. That left this player alone in Seattle. Damn. And she's averaging 24.9 points per game. That player is Jewell Loyd.
Jewell Loyd, yeah. I wouldn't have said Jewell Loyd, but yeah, she's the only one that can score on that team. They're not very good this year.
Well, have we all got it?
Yeah, they're
this is something you would have to seen on ESPN like today. To answer this question, right?
To be fair, she has been absolutely on a tear this season because, like I said, she's by herself, and so she has been going crazy this year. I think I have a stat that I remember it. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, so I'll just move on. But I think that Jewell Loyd is nearing the record for the highest average points in a season, point blank period in WNBA history. Because I think the highest points per game by an individual player is like 25 something. She's at 24.9 right now. So if she continues to tear it up in the second half, she could set a WNBA record. Shout out to Jewell Loyd.
Yeah, big up.
All right. Here's our last question for Shaun's Pop Quiz here on episode number 39 with our guest, Mr. Kenny Caraway of D-Lo and KC, ESPN 1320, Sacramento sports leader. So, Kenny, this would be Garry's question. We'll give it to you. Unfortunately, Garry can't net any points from it, but here is your question, Kenny.
Right.
This WNBA All-Star is the first rookie selected to start in the game since 2014. So I'll read the question one more time. This WNBA All-Star is the first rookie selected to start in the WNBA All-Star game since 2014.
Aaliyah Boston, she's killing, man. She's having a great rookie year.
That is correct. Yes,
she's having a great rookie season.
Oh man! I was watching the Liberty and Fever game that was on. I think it was on CBS this morning or NBA TV. It was on NBA TV this morning. It started at 9 a.m. It was one of those Kids Day things, but it's also early because they're getting to the All-Star break. The Liberty were up by like 20 points in the fourth quarter. Let another huge lead go. Then Aaliyah Boston nails a 3 over Jonquel Jones to send it to overtime. The Liberty still won, but damn. Aaliyah Boston.
Aaliyah Boston is coming from day one and been a franchise changer because Indiana stinks traditionally, but she's got them at least watchable at this point. She's having a great rookie season.
Yeah,
great.
Without a doubt. Yeah. So Kenny gets the question right, but no points picked up on the scoreboard, so we'll leave it as is. And Kevin,
doesn't someone have a WNBA podcast?
I do actually. Yeah. So I just started a WNBA podcast in partnership with the blog that I write for, Hoop Social. It's called WNBA Social. I've only released 2 episodes so far, but I appreciate it, Toddy. Thanks for the plug, because I was going to leave that.
I heard about that. Yeah, I heard.
Hey man, y'all should check out the WNBA, man.
I'm starting to.
It's a really good product. I'm gonna speak truthfully here. I always liked it because it's basketball. I like watching the women play basketball, but I understood the argument where people would say in the past there's just not enough talent in the league. So you think maybe 10, 15 years ago, it's just not enough talent. Like the women who were elite, they're the truth, right? But the middle of the roster ladies, they weren't that good. I could understand that. But I think the skill level for the league as a whole, as it continues to get better year after year, I'd say you can look at the WNBA 10 years ago and look at it today, and I just think it's a better product in recent times right now, man. So these ladies are balling. And yeah, I'm not even going to act like I used to watch it a lot back then. I didn't. I'd have the same gripes other people had. But in the last couple of years I've been watching, I was like, man, it's consistently like good high-level basketball going on, good level shot making, all that other stuff. So girls are doing a great thing, man. Y'all should check it out, man. WNBA doing their thing.
Preach, KC. I appreciate you saying some good words about the WNBA. I was actually just having a whole discussion with one of my cousins about the W before this podcast started, because he's of the majority, just believing in all the stereotypes and everything that you mentioned, KC, about how the product wasn't as good, but it has just gotten so much better. I absolutely love it. I got locked in 2020 during the wobble because I became a Sabrina Ionescu fan after watching her just torch my Stanford Cardinal for 4 years. And so I started watching like a lot in 2020 because of Sabrina, and just the product as a whole across the entire league has just gotten so much better. And all that I ask is, if someone's going to talk down on the league, just give it a chance and watch a game. If you watch a game and you say it's still not for you, it's not entertaining to you for whatever reason, I'm okay with that. Everyone has different opinions and different viewpoints, but don't just continue these stereotypes, a lot of misogynistic stereotypes that are out there, just hating on women playing sports. It's like, okay, they can't dunk, but because they can't dunk, their fundamentals are way better. And so like
that Aces Storm series last year in the playoffs was as good as any postseason matchup you would have seen.
Aces won me some money last year. Shout out to Kelsey Love.
Straight up. And I don't mean to stay on this too long, but I think the college game is really a lot of fun too. Obviously, we got storylines now. Caitlin Clark, but I mean, there used to be. I tell Damien this all the time because he's a big women's basketball fan, and it used to be like you really wouldn't have to watch the tournament until maybe the Elite Eight, because those were the best teams. There's like 8 good teams. They beat up on everybody, and then if you want to see something, you watch the Elite Eight and then on. But now, I think all season long you watch it. You watch the tournament. It's the same thing I talk about in the WNBA. The level of play across the nation is just getting better and better, and it's making for a much better product, man. So I love what they're doing in the women's game, and with them, the good thing about them, right? The good thing about them that you don't get in the NBA is these girls, they stay 3-4 years. You know what I'm saying? And college hoops for the men, which I love, they're there for a year. Now they're not even going. They're going to Ignite and Overtime Elite and all this other stuff. But the best women players, they're there 3-4 years, and you get to follow their story and see their growth for a few years. And I think that helps the college game. So all the way around, man, it's a good product.
Preach, KC, man. I just absolutely love what we're seeing in the college game as well, and now it's going to translate to the W, and we see those superstars going from college to the W, and that tournament, like this past year, like, to be honest, I wasn't too locked in on men's college basketball. I was a casual, admittedly, but I was consistently watching women's college basketball, even in the regular season, just because it's gotten so much better. And you can ask Kevin, because we were talking about it a lot. I was locked in on the women's tournament, and to be honest, I couldn't care less about the men's tournament because of exactly what you said. I mean, Casey, I know that you also watch wrestling like myself, and it's the storylines too in the women's game because they're able to stay there for years. That's what makes it even juicier. And
you could argue
I
it was
love
a little
it.
bit more interesting. Women's was more interesting. Like I think they put up history in the title game. It was like 1.4 million people was watching. So I don't know if people was watching the men's tournament like that.
And then the other thing about that is the biggest story from women college basketball, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, Iowa versus LSU. We get to see that again. If they were men's college basketball players, that would have been a one-time thing. But they're gonna find a way to make them play in the regular season again, and that's probably gonna be the biggest, the highest viewed college basketball game, men or women's, all year. I'm pretty sure of that.
Probably
Easy.
Most definitely. All right, so KC, while we got you here, we wanted to do a little bit of an NFC West preview because, as you know, these are the dog days of summer, especially if you don't watch baseball like Jaevon and Kevin. And so we're looking ahead now to the NFL season. And you are admittedly a 49ers fan, just like Jaevon and myself. And so we figured this is a good time to take a look at the NFC West. So Kevin has a team. He's got the Cardinals. Jaevon got the Rams. I got the Seahawks. And then we're going to ask you to just take a look at the Niners schedule and tell us what their record is. I know we're putting you on the spot here, but we'll have you go last so you could take a look at the schedule real quickly. Kevin, tell us about the Cardinals. What do you think the Cardinals are going to do this year?
Oh, boy. So I was talking to the guys about it before the pod, and we all know Kyler Murray is going to be out. So it's easy to kind of think about it as they're not going to have Kyler Murray. But the question came up to me was, who the hell is going to be the backup? And Shaun answered, Colt McCoy. So it's looking ugly. If there's any Cardinal fans still tuning in, I sincerely apologize for what I'm going to say. You know, the dark days are coming. Dark days are coming. So week one, I'm going to say that the Cardinals are going to take an L. I think Sam Howell is going to really surprise a lot of people. I think the Commanders are going to just trample them. Giants, week two, I'm going to say they're going to take an L. What the Giants did last week with Brian Daboll. Being an NFC East guy myself, I really got to just see them flourish. You know, Saquon finally healthy. They're finally bringing in receivers in Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee. So the Giants got a lot, and they also brought in Darren Waller. So they can really do a lot this year, but I'm definitely going to have them going into week two or leaving week two with a W. And then they play another NFC East team, which is the Cowboys week three, which I believe is another L. And then they have the 49ers, which is going to be another L. The 49ers, I think they're going to sweep them just for future reference on this because that's an easy sweep. Then we have the Rams, week five. I think this is where the Cardinals get their first win. I think they're going to split with the Rams. The Rams have had their struggles. You know, Matthew Stafford, the rumors are they try to trade him. They had Cooper Kupp. They lost Jalen Ramsey. You know, how many seasons is Aaron Donald going to be there? We saw the Bobby Wagner experiment. So is Sean McVay going to be able to get them back on the pedestal and see what they're going to look like this season? But I definitely think the Cardinals are going to split with the Rams. And then we have the Seahawks week six. I think the Seahawks are going to go in there and just smack them up. I also have them losing both games to the Seahawks. Then we have the Ravens. Toddy and I have talked about this going back and forth. I think this is going to be a Lamar Jackson MVP tour. I think he's finally got the weapons. He got a new OC that's going to let him throw the ball. I think this is going to be big for a year for Lamar, and unfortunately, another L for the Arizona Cardinals. Then we have the Browns week 8. Deshaun Watson, coming off of this season where he could only play the last couple games. We're going to see him a full training camp, full OTAs, all that. I think he's going to come back and show us that he arguably is a top 10 quarterback in this league. So I have the Cardinals losing that game as well. Week 9. This game, I didn't really know which way to lean. They're playing the Falcons. I don't really know what to expect with Desmond Ridder. This team has a shit ton of options. There's young options. You have London, you have Kyle Pitts, you have Bijan Robinson. We're expecting a lot of big things from them. They're building a secondary, but it comes down to the quarterback. And Desmond Ridder, Colt McCoy, I think I'm going to have to go with Colt McCoy. So I think the Falcons are going to lose this game. So this would be the Cardinals' second win. Then they play the Texans. Week 10. C.J. Stroud versus Colt McCoy.
Ohio State, remember that. Keep that in mind, guys.
I know. I honestly think this game might be a tie. But if I had to get off the bridge, I'm going to say the Texans are going to lose this game, and I think the Cardinals get this win. So this is the Cardinals' third win of the season. Then they play with the Rams, which I said they split. So since they won the earlier game, they will lose in week 11. Then they play the Steelers, Gary's guy, two glove Kenny. Bijan Robinson. They have Najee Harris. They have a lot of good things going over there. So I think the Steelers are going to leave there with a win. Niners, I said they're going to sweep. Then they play the Bears week 14. I think this is going to be a Justin Fields leap. I think he's going to come in here and have a Jalen Hurts kind of leap. I've been saying it. I think they're going to win the division. I'm all Bears, all everything. And it's not the Ohio State bias in me. I just really think the DJ Moore thing is going to really just help him flourish. And, they had Mooney, they had Cole Kmet come on early. So I think they just have a lot going on with Khalil Herbert in the backfield. And, they're looking at Justin Fields as their number one rusher. So it really doesn't matter who the running back is. So then they play, unfortunately, the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not going to go too much into that. It's going to be a massacre. Then they have the second matchup.
Word massacre.
Second matchup with the Seahawks to end the year. So I have the Cardinals going 2-15.
Oof.
Tank for Caleb, baby.
Louise. Oh my God! Yeah,
but I also have a caveat here. I want to make sure this is me saying that Kyler's not coming back. I just scrapped Kyler coming back the last 4 or 5 weeks.
You see that workout video he was doing today? He looked like he's trying to come back week 1.
All right, Toddy, let's hear about the Rams. What do you got for the Rams?
All right. So I got the Rams going 6-11 this year. This is 2 years removed from the Super Bowl year, so you kind of go back. They're, fuck them pigs, parade, all this, that, and the third. Next year, everyone basically gets hurt. They had to bring in Baker. Baker had the miracle game against the Cowboys or the Raiders. I think it was on Thursday Night Football. It was actually pretty cool. That was pretty much the highlight of their year. I think they got trounced by the Broncos, or did the Broncos beat them crazy? I remember they played the Broncos. It was like on Christmas or something.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, brother. I'm sure I didn't watch that game. The Broncos were horrible.
I remember exactly. I remember exactly what you're talking about. I think the Rams won that one like at the very end. The Broncos were dominating, and then I think the Rams won that one at the end. But I could have forgot it. So
we'll probably have to look that one up. So we got week 1. They're going against Seattle. I guess Geno's still not riding back. Comeback player of the year. I got the Rams losing that one to Geno. Then versus the Niners week 2, it's going to be tough for them. I'm just looking at who are the Rams receivers besides. Is Cooper Kupp going to be healthy besides him? I feel like he's the only guy with kind of Van Jefferson. Is he still there? I'm not sure.
I was going to say, is he still there? Is Allen Robinson still there?
Yeah, Allen Robinson's still there. He's still there.
Allen Robinson was gone. Are they trying to get rid of him?
They might be trying to get rid of him. I thought he signed a 2-year deal when he signed.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to pencil the Niners in. We could just say the Niners sweep the Rams this year.
Real quickly, I'll just mention the score that you were talking about because I was way off. The Rams absolutely clapped the Broncos 50.
There we go. The Rams beat them. That was crazy.
On Christmas.
Yeah, I think that's what got boy fired. I think that game got
fired. Yeah, that was the game that got Hackett. Hackett got fired.
Got him to the Jets. So
I got the Rams starting off 0-2 against the Niners. They got the Bengals week 3. That is on the road. Seems like a night game. I don't know if it's Monday night or Sunday night. But we're going to go ahead and pencil Joe Burr for a win. Rams 0-3 already. Not a good start. Looks like they got a easier game coming up. They got the Colts now. Rich could be playing in this game. I don't know if it's going to be a huge difference in the game, but might give them a couple of fits. But I got the Rams winning that game. So we'll pencil that in as 1-3. And here we go. We got week 5 against the old Eagles. And
I'll end the broadcast.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for the Rams. So I got the Eagles winning that game. They are now 1-4. 1-4. Next, we got the Cardinals on the schedule. Kevin already mentioned Kyle Murray is going to be out for an extended period of time. I think the Cardinals are probably going to finish last in the division. With that being said, I think the Rams do beat the Cardinals. So now they are 2-4. Got the Steelers next week. Garry is not here to defend his team. I do believe Kenny makes a little bit of a leap this year. I don't know. I'm not really that high on Kenny. Kenny Two Gloves, Mr. Pickett. I'm not really too high on him. Coming out of college, he did a couple of nice things, but I think he's very limited in this league now. I don't know if he's going to be the true successor of Ben Roethlisberger. With that being said, I think that they do get the Rams here. I like their defense, the Steelers' defense going into this game. I love Minka Fitzpatrick. I think he's probably one of the best safeties in this league. I love their receiving core. With Pickens and it's not James Washington. It's blanking on the other guy's receiver's name.
I'm trying to think of his name. I see him. Deontay Johnson?
Deontay
Washington? No, it is Johnson.
I think
Johnson.
It's Deontay Johnson, and I think they also do have a James Washington as well.
Yeah.
I could be wrong though.
I think James Washington plays on the
Cowgirls.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Garry would probably be throwing up in his mouth right now that we didn't remember the guy's name. But I think the Steelers just have a better. I think the team as of right now they got a better team than them. So I'm gonna go with the Steelers. They're being 2-4. Rams, Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are better as of right now. Kenny already mentioned that there's 3 teams in the NFC, and I kind of agree with him that the Cowboys are one of those best teams in the NFC. So I'm gonna go with the Cowboys here. So they're 2-5. Now they're going to old Lambeau, but there's a catch here, guys. There's no Aaron Rodgers. You got old Jordan Love here, so I think Matthew Stafford is a better quarterback than Jordan Love. I think that's fair to say. He has a Super Bowl, right? Put up a bunch of numbers in Detroit. I think the Rams do get a win here. So what? That's 3-6, 3-5. I think
that's crazy.
3-5. You don't think the Rams beat the Packers?
Absolutely.
Some people believe that some people, being our friend Khalil, who is a diehard Packers fan, thinks that Jordan Love is now the best quarterback.
He's Mahomes now. He's Mahomes, I guess. He's Mahomes. Seattle again next week. I'd say the Rams, they split. They could split with Seattle. I think it's possible. Geno Smith, he had that, okay year, I guess, last year, and then made him just based off of, I'm not too high on Geno. That's just me personally, but he had a solid year last year. I think threw for like 30 touchdowns. There's not too much in the NFC as far as quarterbacks go. Most of the quarterbacks are in the AFC, so that kind of helps us as far as not really being too much of a crazy road to get to the Super Bowl. I think the Rams probably bounce back here, so I think they get their 4-6, 4-5, 4-6. Could be wrong here.
Something like that.
They got the Rams next week, or the Rams have the Cardinals next week. I don't think the Cardinals are going to put too much of a fight for Pennsylvania to win. And we're kind of starting to get into the thick of things here. Got the Browns at home. I think Deshaun Watson year 2. Full. Kevin already mentioned it. I got the Browns winning that game. We'll just keep powering through here. Ravens next week. That's Lamar Jackson MVP type year. Commanders is a bit of a toss up. If I had to put, I'll say Commanders win. Commanders win this game. Saints, actually, I'll say the Rams win that game. I think the Rams could beat the Commanders as possible. Saints next week, I think they lose that game. I'm pretty high on the Saints this year, just based off their division. I think they have great defense. I kind of mentioned it on Wednesday. I would say last week's pod. Monday's pod, I mentioned that they have I think they have a top tier defense. You got Cam Jordan, you got DeMario Davis, Marshawn Lattimore, I think is a top 5 DB in this league. You can argue
from the Ohio State University.
You got Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger. I love their offense. You got Chris Olave. AK is one of my favorite running backs. I think he's one of the best running backs in this league. Michael Thomas is obviously going to be the wild card. Another Ohio State guy, as you can see. Our audio only listeners, they're throwing up the Ohio.
Like they'll be fine.
Yeah,
when they get to the league, you know what I mean? They'll be fine as long as
yeah. They only receivers, running backs, DBs. That's what they're good for. Other than that, it hasn't been good for them.
Hey, CJ will be good.
CJ, I like CJ, and I like Fields.
I think Derek Carr is going to have a solid year. I think he's going to have a better team around him. All the years that he's been in Oakland, he hasn't really had a solid team around him. So, with that being said, I think the Rams lose to the Saints. The Giants game, I think the Giants win this game just based off of the run that they had last year. You got Brian Daboll, the best fat guy since Biggie Smalls, according to the internet. Great year for them last year. I think they went 9-6-1, if I'm not mistaken. The Giants gave that massive contract to Daniel Jones I'm not too fond of. But they do have Saquon Barkley, who can pretty much turn any 1-yard swing route to a 60-yard touchdown pass. So you got that wild card, and we'll see what Darren Waller gives them, because he hasn't really been healthy over the course of his career. But when he is healthy, he's one of the best tight ends in the league. So I'll definitely give the Giants the win here. And 49ers, last game of the year, Niners sweep. Another loss for them. So as far as wins go, I have them with, let's see.
I counted 6.
Yeah, 6-11.
All right. So Kevin has the Cardinals at 2-15 in the running for Caleb Williams. Jaevon has the Rams at 6-11, probably right there in the top 10. I got the Seahawks, and obviously to me, the Seahawks are the only team that might give the 49ers fits this year, and the only team that might contend.
Beat them 3 times
NFC
last year,
West.
by the way.
They sure did. But anyways, I do think that the Seahawks are the 49ers' only competition in the NFC West this year, or even in the NFC in general, because as KC was mentioning earlier, the NFC doesn't really have too many teams this year. Between you got the Niners, Eagles, Cowboys. After that, it kind of drops off. I'd put the Seahawks in that second tier, but I still got the Seahawks having a respectable record. And I will say that, just referencing the notepad again. So Jaevon said episode 27. Oh, same episode actually. Episode number 27, May 1st. Jaevon said the 49ers will sweep the Seahawks in 2023, and this is where
Kevin got bet Manny that day too.
Yeah, you sure did. $50. Yep, yeah. I wrote it right here. $50. And so this is where Kevin says that I'm a little more realistic and try to remove the bias from my heart. I don't use as many we's. So I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say that the 49ers do lose to the Seahawks. So here's the rundown of the Seahawks.
He's a pessimist. So, he's pessimistic.
He's honest, Todd.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm honest. I try to put my bias aside. Big J journalist, as I need to be a better producer and switch the screens real quickly because we're on the Seahawks now. But yeah, I try to be realistic. But yeah, I mean, growing up in Sacramento, I have been a pessimist for a long time because of the basketball team. Anyways, getting to the Seahawks, week 1 at home against the Rams, that's a dub. At Detroit, I'm gonna say that's a loss. I think that's a sneaky win for the Detroit Lions against the Seahawks. So at home against Carolina for the Seahawks, I think that's a win. Bryce Young, I think he'll be solid. Kevin thinks that the Panthers will win the division, but I think Bryce Young will be solid, but I got the Seahawks winning that game. Week 4 at the New York Giants, I think the Seahawks take an L there. Then they got a bye week 5, come back at Cincinnati. Normally coming out of a bye, you would think they'd be rested. They could steal one that they maybe shouldn't. At Cincinnati, that ain't happening. Joe Burrow. Then
Ohio State guy?
Cardinals.
Y'all gonna claim him?
He did graduate from the Ohio State University. I mean, he won a natty. He won a natty at LSU, so I'm not going to claim him.
They still go. All the guys that transfer out too, they still claim him.
Jameson Williams started at Ohio State.
They still claim him.
So getting to week 7, the Seahawks host the Cardinals. As Kevin was saying, I think it's going to be a rough year for the Cardinals. That's a dub for the Seahawks. Seahawks at home against Cleveland, the Browns, year 2, Deshaun Watson. I'm going to say that the Seahawks steal that win, even though I do think that the Browns will be
Where's that game
in contention this year. That's in Seattle. So the 12s, the best fan base in the NFL, I think they'll have an impact. Seattle wins that game against Cleveland. At Baltimore, I think that's a loss. At home against the Commanders, that's a win. A little mini win streak in 6 and 7 games that I got for Seattle right here in the middle of the season. So then at LA Rams, that's a win. At home against the 49ers, this is where Jaevon and I disagree. There's always crazy shit that happens in division football play. I'm going to say that Seattle wins at home against the 49ers. They pull off the upset. Week 13, they're at Dallas. That's a win. I'm going to say that they pull off the upset, and that's their 4th win in a row. Then you get to week 14. They're coming to Santa Clara, Levi Stadium. The Niners want their get back. The Seahawks are going to take an L. Then the Seahawks host the Eagles. As much as I despise the Eagles, Yeah. So Kevin resides in the Pacific Northwest, so he was locked in, and he was actually at the Kings Clincher in Portland, which was pretty
Nice.
cool. So Kevin will be there
He was
to
on
see
TV.
his Eagles.
Hey, man, I wasn't gonna say that, man.
He was on TV.
That's not gonna impress Kenny, man.
It's all good.
Yeah, this is courtside Kenny. I ain't going.
That's what I'm saying, yeah, man.
If you know, you know, from D-Lo and KC. Anyway, so then week 15, Seattle hosts the Eagles. I think Kevin will see his team win that day, so Seattle loses. Then at the Titans, that's a win. At home against the Steelers, I think that's a win. Sorry, two-glove Kenny. And then week 18 at the Cardinals, it's the lowly Cardinals. So the Seahawks finished the season with 3 wins in a row, and they finished the season pretty strong. Much to my dismay, I got the Seattle Seahawks going 11-6. So I think that gets them a wild card spot. So KC, you got the Niners.
I was waiting for him to pop out the cuts. I was waiting to see if he was going to pop out
the whole time. He was texting me.
Shout out to our guy Manny, who was a star at Sac State on the
I
football
can't wait.
team.
I'm excited.
It'll be
Stingers
interesting.
up, baby. Stingers up, man. Always, baby.
Stingers up. All right. So KC,
all right,
you got the
man.
Niners.
All right, man. So it's like I said, man, I like what we're doing here on the spot a little bit. I'm gonna go through this schedule, see what I see, and I'm gonna preference this by saying I think the 49ers. I look, one thing people be like, oh, homer, all this other stuff. Not a homer. I don't hide my allegiances, but I'm not a homer. I'll keep it a stack, and when I keep it a stack, this team is one of the best rosters in football, hands down. Like, it just is what it is. You know what I mean? The only thing everybody is praying for around the league is that Brock Purdy was a flash in the pan, or that Trey Lance. That's what they're praying for, because they know if they any good, it might be a wrap. Like that's all everybody keeps saying. Oh, they ain't got no quarterback. Yeah, you hoping they ain't got no quarterback, because you know if they do, it's over. So there's that. Now, the other thing I'll preference as well is I believe that it's going to be very, very important for Kyle Shanahan and that coaching staff and those players to have home field throughout the playoffs. The last 2 times they went to the NFC Championship game, they had to do it on the road, and you make the argument that cost them. You know what I mean? Having to go on the road. The year before with Jimmy Garoppolo, they had to play all 3 games on the road. This time, at least they had 2 games at home, but they still had to go to Philly. And a lot of that had to do with slow starts and having to get hot in the second half of the season to just get in the playoffs for 1, and then in the last year to get the 2 seed. Say all that to say, I think they're going to prioritize the regular season and get in home field advantage about as much as any team in football this year. It's going to be very important for them to host the NFC Championship game. So I don't think they're going to play around. I think they're going to be ready to go from the start. And you look at the schedule, starts week 1 at Pittsburgh, that's a win. Go down to Levi South in week 2 at Los Angeles, that's definitely a win. They play the Giants on Thursday night, that's a win on the home opener. They play Arizona, that's a win at the crib. They got Dallas on Sunday Night Football at the crib, that's a win. You go to week 6, they got to follow that up going to Cleveland. That's where I have them getting their first loss of the season. Cleveland got a lot of talent. Deshaun Watson, I think he's going to be ready to play. I don't know how good Cleveland is going to be, but I think they'll be ready for that game to try and get the Niners their first loss. That's when I give them that first loss. After that, Monday night at Minnesota, I got the Niners winning that. And I'll say this as well. Cleveland and Minnesota, I think one of those are going to be a loss. If you want to switch them around, say they beat Cleveland, lose to Minnesota, that's fine too. But I think one of those are going to be a loss. So that's going to be their first loss. They got Cincinnati at home after that. I think they win that game. They got a bye week. They go to Jacksonville, which I'm not, making light of. Jacksonville, they may be ready to go this year, but I got the Niners winning that one. Week 11 at home against Tampa Bay. I got them winning that. And it's these next 2. This is almost like I talked about with Cleveland and Minnesota. The Seattle game, my first thought is that's on Thanksgiving. That's a short week going to Seattle on a Thursday. I'm like, that's tough. You know what I mean? That might be a schedule loss right there. Then I thought about it. We beat the hell out of the Seahawks last year on a short week. You know when we do it again. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna chill, and I'm gonna say they lose in Seattle because I for sure ain't saying they losing. I for sure ain't saying that. So they gonna lose in Seattle, and they gonna go into Philly on a mini bye, and they're gonna go in here, and they're gonna make the cry Eagles cry. That's what it's gonna say after that. Cry Eagles cry in that one right there.
I can't wait for Gillies. Can't wait for Gillies IG Live after the game.
That's all. I got them winning that one. Say Seattle beats them on Thanksgiving. They're going to come back and get backhanded like nothing we've ever seen before in week 14 when they come to Levi's. That's a win. Then they go to Arizona. That's a win. Then they got the Baltimore Ravens on Monday night on Christmas night. I agree with all you guys. Baltimore's the real deal, man. I love Lamar Jackson. That's going to be a tough game, but I just think about Baltimore flying cross country. I'll give the Niners that win. And at that point, I have them at 13-2, right? And at that point, they're going to do whatever they need to do. If they have the number 1 seed sewn up.
Could be locked up by then.
Yeah, it could be locked. If they have it sewn up, I think, it's a crapshoot in the next 2 games, which is Washington and the Rams. In an ideal situation, like if they're playing, I pick them to win both of those games, but they may not need them. If they don't need them, I got them winning. I got them losing both of those games, actually. So if they don't need them, I got them finishing. What would I have them at that point?
If they don't need them, it would be 13-4.
13-4. If they do need them, if they need one of them, they'll do whatever they need to do at that point. That's just basically what it is. If they need to win, they'll beat those 2 teams. If they need to win just one game, or the Washington game, they'll win that game and then do whatever they need to do. So for sake of argument, I'll say 14-3 is where I got the Niners finishing off. And I think they're that good, but I also think it's that important for them to get home field advantage.
That's crazy too. I think we were 13-4 last year and still were the number 2 seed because cupcake schedules that you get in the NFC.
I wish one year we get one of those, man. We can't get the Eagles schedules, man.
We get a schedule like the Eagles, man. We might go undefeated. I don't know.
Now, I will say this. This is probably the easiest division they've had in a long time. And they should take care of business. I think they swept the division last year.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to think you're going to go 12-0 in 2 years against the division. But they should. They should sweep the division again this year.
I don't see why not. I think I have the Niners going 13-4. I probably said that on the pod. I don't know if it's on the notebook at all, but I think we probably end up going 13-4 this year. Could be wrong. But I just think that there's a lot of toss-up games for us. The primetime games, I'm probably a little bit more split on. We could lose to a Baltimore on Monday night. We could beat a Cincinnati, or it could kind of be vice versa. So I feel like those 2 games are kind of the toss-up games. But for the most part, I agree with Kenny. I mean, we have the best roster in the league for a reason. We're paying the quarterback essentially nothing besides Trey Lance. I think we have until next year to decide if we're going to pick up his 5th-year option. Brock Purdy is kind of up in the air as far as contract-wise, but I mean, if he keeps playing like the way he's playing, then there's no real reason why this team shouldn't be the number 1 team in the division. I mean, it's kind of like a match made in heaven, right? Kyle Shanahan is kind of known for just making quarterbacks that may not be the most talented, make them look like superstars. I mean, Matt Schaub is kind of like the guy that was on that pedestal that everybody kind of references to. So I feel like with Kyle Shanahan, the weapons kind of surrounding what Purdy is probably going to be given, it's going to be scary and hard to stop.
I agree.
All right. So, guys, we're running out of time, and I want to be respectful of KC's time. So this is going to be our last segment. And I find myself looking at the notepad, and I'm sorry, Jaevon, but I keep referencing so many things that you have said. And just so you're not alone, Kenny, I'm gonna tell you a scorching hot take that our guy Kevin said. And He later walked this back a little bit, but this is what Kevin said.
It's honestly not crazy now seeing the season. It's honestly not crazy.
No, you're crazy. So episode 16 on February 20th of this year, Kevin said, I'm taking Jalen Hurts over Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow.
When was this? Was this after the Super Bowl?
Okay,
This
wait
was
a minute.
February 20th.
Who
Yeah,
did he said? He said Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow,
And Herbert.
Everybody.
and Herbert.
Basically the gauntlet.
No, it's not crazy. I mean, Mahomes is crazy, but
That's where I say it's crazy.
Yeah, Mahomes is crazy. The other one's not so much. Here's the thing. See, this way is Eagles fans. Boy, I tell you. No, I ain't gonna say you was part of this situation. But they be going crazy over Jalen Hurts now. 18 months ago, didn't y'all want Minshew over Hurts?
Hey, let's see it. Let's see another year.
I'm not saying Kevin. I'm not saying it's you, but I know you and connected the Eagles circles and everything. Wasn't they calling for Minshew over Hurts?
They were worried, but he came to show. He came to show what he could do, man.
Now they love him.
That's why you can't
Highest paid contract.
no
Hey, man, it's a Super Bowl patch number 1. They're just sitting in the closet, man. We love Jalen.
I can't put him over Joe Burrow just because I've seen him do it. Like he went to the Super Bowl, then he went to the AFC title game again. So it's like, okay, like he's the real deal. Hurts, we need to see at least another year, but I think he's in that top 5 conversation for sure. We posted our graphic yesterday on Instagram. A lot of people were they weren't really worried about the whole Caleb Williams thing. A lot of people were saying Lamar is supposed to be about Josh Allen, Lamar is supposed to be better than Jalen Hurts, and that's another guy that you can kind of put up there in that top conversation. But injuries do play a factor in every year that we play in the NFL. So those top rankings can change based off of injury history and what your team did in the playoffs that year. That's kind of what it goes off. Jalen Hurts had an MVP caliber season. If he probably doesn't get hurt and miss those games, we could probably be looking at an MVP Jalen Hurts. So
Jalen the truth, man. I ain't got nothing bad to say about Jalen.
My only thing is, don't mean to cut you off, Kenny, but they lost both of their coordinators last year, and their schedule is not a cupcake this year. So we will see how good they will be this year and when they get put to that true test of that gauntlet of quarterbacks that they're going to have to play. Kevin can probably attest this a little bit more. I think it's midway through the season where they got to play Mahomes, Burrow, where they got to play they got to go Josh Allen. It's it's insane. Their schedule's pretty crazy.
So, hey, man, we ain't worried about none of that.
Okay.
Yeah, you are. So just to get back to what I was alluding to with the last potty quote from the notebook, and this is related to our final segment, and we appreciate you for joining us today, Kenny. It really means a lot. Kenny's been rocking with me and Jaevon since the Be Heard platform when we started Shaun and Vaughn with Damian, Deuce, and Mo, and so we appreciate you, Kenny. And so just getting to our last topic here, the New York Jets were selected for Hard Knocks. I don't think they wanted to be on it.
Is it official? Are they on there?
That's the news that I saw today.
Okay.
And so the New York Jets have been selected to be on Hard Knocks this year, obviously the first year with Aaron Rodgers in the Big Apple. But getting to the quote that Jaevon said on episode 26 on April 24th, he said the Jets are a lock to win the AFC East. So whether if you want to respond to that quote or just talk about them being on Hard Knocks, what do you think?
I mean, I don't really like Aaron Rodgers, so
he's a Dodger fan.
I ain't hyped to see them on Hard Knocks, but a lot of people are interested in Aaron Rodgers and the things he has to say. So that's a good move for Hard Knocks because I don't want to say it's a dying franchise because it's going to be around, but it's just not what it was 10, 15 years ago. It's just not. So this is a good storyline. This is something that may, pique people's interest. See Aaron Rodgers with the Jets now and see how that goes. So that's that. That's a take. That's a take. I'm not, they ain't a lock. I don't think they're as far away as it seems, as we traditionally think about the Jets, but I don't think they're better than Miami. And I don't think they're better than Buffalo. Buffalo's kind of strange because Josh Allen, as good as he is, there's something a little fishy with Josh Allen. He's super talented, but sometimes he be doing some stupid stuff. It's what are you doing? What are you seeing right here? Why are you throwing in the triple coverage? Why are you being so loose with the football? So he'll do that from time to time, man. So he's got a little Dak Prescott in him.
Come on, Ken. You can't talk about the cover boy like that.
He's good, but there's something about him that I'm not sure about, man. So I could see the Jets being in the mix, but to say they're a lock, you putting it out there. I ain't mad at it, but I would go with Miami to win that division right now if I had to pick.
Kevin, is that 49ers bias because Mike McDaniels is the head coach of Miami?
Look, I ain't got nothing against Mike McDaniels or whatever the case may be, but make no bones about it. See, I create all these little grudges or whatever. Miami was talking a little reckless before they came into Levi's, man. I ain't like that. So we had to spank them. You know what I'm saying? We had to spank them. We got the Louis Vuitton belt out. We had to spank them real quick. All right, so just as long as they humble, we all right. But they got to settle down, Miami. Settle down, Mike McDaniels. Settle down, Raheem Mostert. We had to let them know. Here's what it is. We're gonna do the same thing to Philly in Week 13. We ain't playing with them boys.
Come on, man.
All right, Kevin. What do you think? You can either touch up on them being on Hard Knocks or Toddy's future freezing cold take.
I mean, since we're talking about freezing cold takes, I know we're being respectful of his time, and we're going to be out of here in a few minutes. This man to my left said Brandon Miller is going to be a bust. What do you have to say about that?
No, Brandon Miller ain't going to be a bust. I don't know if he's going to be better than Scoot. You know, I wouldn't say that, but Brandon Miller, he can play, and I think he's going to be better with better people around him. Now, Charlotte ain't no good. So he's not going to have a lot of better players around him, but LaMelo will be there. They'll probably, have some money to spend next offseason, and then maybe get a draft pick as well. So as time goes along, I think Brandon Miller will be cool. I don't think he's going to be a bust. But the killer is for him, he's not going to be I don't think he's going to be as good as Scoot. And that's what everybody's going to measure him with, his career and Scoot Henderson's career. And that's going to be a tough break for him. But Brandon Miller going to be a good ball player, man. He's already shown some improvement in these summer league games, man. So yeah,
even Stevie Wonder could see. I don't get it. But since we're on the topic, I got one more thing to ask you. So I put it on the notepad. 18-5. What we thinking?
18 points per game, 5 rebounds in his rookie year for Brandon Miller, is what he said. And he also said, and I quote, Kevin also said, Brandon Miller is one of them ones. Stevie Wonder even saw it.
Hey, man, I like Brandon Miller. I don't know if I'm giving him 18-5. What did Paolo do last year?
20. He ain't Paolo.
Yeah, he ain't coming close to Paolo. So I got Brandon Miller at about, and this ain't even a diss. I got him at 13-14 tonight.
They could trade Bridges though, and then he becomes the number 2 option.
True.
Bridges is the number 2 option already.
True.
Oh yeah, you off rip, you got to get Bridges the number 2 option. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't. That's not crazy to say that Miller could be number 2 because Bridges is on a 1-year deal, so they could be shipping him.
Yeah. I could see Brandon Miller doing 13-14 points a night though. The issue that I have with him, is like sometimes we saw it in the tournament, we saw it in a couple of these summer league games. He just won't shoot. Like he'll just kind of get ghost and want to be a playmaker and set everybody else up and stuff like that, even if he's the best player on the court. And yeah, I mean, he's not going to be put in a position to like be the best player on the court a lot of the times once LaMelo comes back. But if you're the second or third best player, I still need you to like be aggressive. And he's not always aggressive offensively. So that's the thing that concerns me about Brandon Miller.
Yeah, and also just to defend my future freezing cold take is I'm glad that you mentioned Scoot Henderson, Kenny, because that's the reason why I feel like I was so adamant about it. It's just like it was such a huge mistake to me for Charlotte to choose Brandon Miller over Scoot because Kevin says that Brandon Miller's going to be one of them ones. I know Scoot's going to be one of them ones if he can stay healthy because as we saw in Summer League, he got hurt, and that's what's unfortunate. Yeah. And also, Kevin, come on. I know you had to call me out, but me and Toddy were on the same boat.
Yeah, but you said it was a bust. You said it was a bust. I listened back to the TikTok. You said bust. How do you like, but you said B-U-S-T. And when those words come out, it has to be talked about.
I stand by it. 10 toes down. So, Kevin, did you want to talk about the Jets real quickly or Toddy's take about them winning the division or being a lock to win the ACs?
Lock is crazy. I mean, we still have Buffalo and we still have Miami, and if we can see Tua put together a full season, I think they're gonna be the team to come out. And then we have the Bills. Von Miller can stay healthy. There's a lot of things that can go on over there, but we have Stephon Diggs with another diva moment. So I don't know if they're gonna blow up and kind of dismantle themselves. But if I had to put money on today, I would probably go with Miami.
That's my only thing. I don't know if Tua is gonna be healthy. Like Kev was pretty much saying. He was saying, and I was like, Miami, they got all the weapons. They got Waddle, Tyreek Hill. They just picked up Jalen Ramsey for the bubble gum and 5th round pick. You gotta like their defense getting better. They got added some additions last year, so I think the Jets. I don't know what the odds were when I said that like months ago. So that's probably why I loved it, because Aaron Rodgers and what they looked like last year. If they would have had a competent quarterback, they would have probably been easier to kind of make things happen. But I think as far as the hard knocks for the Jets, it's going to be great television. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers. They haven't really had a quarterback since Joe Namath. They did have Mark. They did have Mark Sanchez take him to.
They did have Zach Wilson.
He was supposed to be.
That's Toddy's boy. He was high on Zach Wilson.
I thought we was going to draft Zach Wilson a long time ago when the Niners had that top pick. So, but it's going to be great TV. I'll probably be tuning in.
It will, without a doubt. Well, KC, we really appreciate you for joining us, taking time out of your evening. We know you got a young family, and so thank you for sticking with us.
The OG.
Can't wait to have you back, man. When the Eagles are the #1 seed.
Like I said, when y'all got to play on Wild Card Saturday, man, I'll come here and preview your game. I'll preview your game and be like, man, maybe they can get with the Lions. We'll see.
Maybe they can.
They got to go to Detroit, so what I'm saying. We'll see what they can do.
We're not winning the division.
We'll have a full preview of that Wild Card game. Don't worry, man.
Saturday we packing bags. Oh, okay, yeah, this is ridiculous.
Hey, man, y'all doing some great stuff, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm a big fan, and y'all keep killing, man. I love what y'all doing, man. It was my pleasure to be part of it.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you having us.
It means the world to us.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you, Kenny, and we just want to remind everyone, if you're watching on YouTube right now, make sure to give us a like. It really helps us grow. And if you enjoy the show, hit subscribe so you can get notifications when we go live. Just for this exact scenario, when we have a bonus episode and we're going live 2 days later than we normally do. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at StatsOverPolitics, and on Twitter at StatsOrPolitics, because there's a character limit. See all the great content that Kevin's putting out there. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on all podcast platforms if you're listening on audio. And if you're enjoying the show, same thing. Give us 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it. As you've been tuned into episode number 39 of Stats Over Politics, for Jaevon Toddy, Kevin Dent, and our special guest, Kenny Caraway, I'm Shaun Holko. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you all back again on Monday for episode 40 of Stats Over Politics.
Episode's flying by.
Hell yeah.